Welcome, folks, to the show. I apologize immediately if there's any kind of weird, silence or something of me just sitting there for a second at the beginning of these streams, because I seem to hit start streaming in OBS and everything takes a second to kick in, obviously, and it shows it at the bottom of the screen. It's very specific in the readings that it's giving me. And it seems that a few times whenever it's said, okay, you're on, I've kicked into things and it chops me off a bit still. I'm not cool with that. I don't like that. That's not quality. So I got to wait for a second. And I'd rather there be that silence, I guess. How's it going, folks? Today is a pretty bright Sunday, if you can't tell. I've got a window right behind my camera that just blasts me with light whenever it's light outside. So it's definitely bright in here already, and then I've got a million lights on and everything. It looks just lit up like a Christmas tree, so it's just how I like it in here. All right, so today I am joined by my prehistoric co-host, Pepe Mache. Now, he's got something for us today, and we'll get that figured out in a minute as to what that even is. He had something for us last time, and it turned out being pretty sick. So anytime that this guy apparently has something shoved down his gullet and has eaten something that he probably shouldn't have, it turns out positive for us here. Pretty sick, right? So what we're going to do today, folks, before we reach into this dude's mouth and hope for the best, is we're going to get back to talking about this album, The Centrifuge, from one of my two solo projects of music stuff that I do, The Bedbugs. It is pretty much anything that I write that's indie, folk, kind of punk stuff. And I've had this project going for, I think, the better part of maybe 6 or 7 years or something like that. I lose track of time very easily. Put an asterisk next to that one. But anything that I have that's like that, I put toward this project, and it was the first project of, I guess not the first solo project I ever had, but as far as stuff that people are going to be able to find out there in the world, this is really that for the general consumer, I guess. That it's one of my first solo project that I really started doing, that I put stuff out there for and everything. And anyway, excuse me. Looking at this stuff is kind of a big focus of what I've been wanting to do on the stream. But another big focus of the stream, and probably the bigger focus of the stream, has been my other solo project that I just put music out under. That's my name. And you can find these pages on Bandcamp and buy the stuff up and support, or you can go to any streaming service you want to and find this stuff. I haven't put anything out for about a year or two. I think it's 2 years. The Centrifuge was the last album that I put out. Let's kind of get into this. You can go and check out this stuff. I'm gonna eventually talk about some of these releases and some of the other Bedbugs releases on stream too. But the main focus is, with this project, I've been, for that past year or two or whatever it's been since I've put out an album, I slowly have been kind of building an arsenal of equipment and of knowledge and stuff about producing and recording and getting that better than I've done it before. Because before, it's always been a sort of, fuck it, who cares, especially because the type of music that I'm doing now, fuck it, who cares, I'm just going to get something that, whatever I have that I can afford to get to record, which for the most part ended up being either my friend Luke Pogue would have some mics and would record us very, very raw and very basic through his interface that he kind of had at the time, or it would be more famously for the Bedbugs project especially, but also for stuff on Muckborn, even here from the page, as far as my page and what's up right now. I used this box, this Boss BR 500 or something like that. It was a little box that big that had little condenser microphones in it, and on the inside of it that you could use to record vocals and stuff. I'd sit in my car or in my closet or something like that, and I'd record drums that way. I'd do guitar that way. I had to do everything that way at one point. And yeah, it was really kind of all I did was just hit record on that and then throw stuff together. And it just sounded like it sounded, which was the kind of the spirit at the time. But I want to get better at that stuff, and I've been listening to so much more music that, has just inspired me to try and get good at the process of even not just acoustic instruments, but electronic instruments, and not just like electric guitar, obviously, but like MIDI stuff and synths and vocoders, and how do I make more present mixes and more proper mixes, and just all that shit, all of it. I just want to get good at all that stuff because it's fucking cool and it sounds awesome, and I have some ideas that I know can sound fucking cool if I get them down the right way, especially. So I want to do that. So I've been working on a song lately, and hell, I'll pull it up, man, because I think at one point I did talk about even I think that just the percussion on this track I kind of showed at one point, and I've been doing a lot of work on it since then, and this is a great window that's telling you guys right now I have not paid for Reaper yet. Cool thing about it is that it says Reaper is not free, but you can just keep using it for free and have all the features. So I don't understand. I think I want to kind of show a little bit of the progress I've made on this track, though. I don't want to... I have a bad habit of really being proud or happy or just elated whenever I make progress on stuff in general, but especially lately with just the production thing. And I've been using this song as kind of my work mule for the past, probably year or so. It's been the ideas of it started, and I started putting them down, and just over that year it's built, and I've slowly been learning production things and putting stuff on top of that, and using it as my tool to experience, give myself a bit of experience, doing that stuff. And so for me, it's been one of the things I've worked the most on before, as far as sonically, especially as far as not just playing the instruments like I've done before, but sitting here and just fucking with it, But yeah, I want to show the percussion again would be pretty sick. A little bit of the percussion section. Let me see if I can do some cool build-in stuff here. So I'm basically at the point with this where I'm starting to be able to, everything's down, the song's done, and I'm starting to be able to mess with how it sounds and just have ideas on top of that. And you would think after a year, hopefully it's getting to that point, right? But I've been doing so much as far as just playing around with stuff and seeing what does what, and then articles and videos and things like that to try and guide my way as I'm going through this. But I want a really raw experience still, as much as I'm trying to make this sound really tight and as best as I can get produced, pop stuff essentially, but funk and video game music, sort of stuff mixed in, all that. There's all sorts of kind of influences mixed in with it, but not even just musically, but as far as the production, and all those things typically are, especially nowadays, and the stuff I just listened to is produced really tight, but whether it's electronic instruments or raw instruments, you can still have a tight production. And the thing about this is, the song is that it's, what did I do? No, I think I did something, because now the whole entire track, I don't know, I can't, never mind. But I forgot where I was even kind of really going with that. It's just the production of stuff can be tight, and this is where I was going. I have basically a lot of vocal recording I've never done before, a lot of drum recording I've never done before, a lot of real percussion and stuff recording that I've never done before, and if I have done that kind of stuff before, I've definitely not done it like this. I've done it in the simpler ways. I kind of put out there, but it's a lot of experimenting, and it's just a lot of I want to be happy with the sound. But I do want to show you guys a clip of this. So let me start it off maybe like right here. I've been playing with a lot of stuff lately, and I'm kind of in the middle of experimenting around and messing with the percussion section and the this stuff in specific, and I was working on it a bunch last night until I started like falling asleep in my chair, and then I like kind of like came to again and noticed it was almost 3 a.m. and was like, I gotta just cut the line here. I can't finish what I'm working on because I'm falling asleep, and I had to take note of it, and I'll get to it later. So some of the stuff that you're going to hear in the percussion section is not necessarily settled where I want it to be exactly, but sounds pretty sick. So, okay, enough talking about it. I'll kind of layer things in here. This should be pretty cool, so I hope that, let me make sure that this is even working. Hold on. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear this unless I get this to work. So I've got to turn this on. All right, we should be good. I'm getting a reading. That's the send. Oh, man, guys, I am sloppy today. I have to check out, oh, no. I'm looking at my OBS. Hold on. I'll remember how to do this. What I'm trying to do is... Oh my gosh. I'm terrible at talking at the same time as trying to focus on stuff. I should have, for the DAW, I believe, or for the focus right out or something, somewhere in here, I do have a filter in my OBS. That's not quite it. Where I'm sending this, basically the way that I got to get this audio to you guys. There it is. Good Lord. Sorry about that fest I just had. I have to get this where, let me see if it works. Did that do anything? Oh, now I have to wait for the bass drum. I have a plug-in that's going from my, It looks like it's not wanting to work, which is pretty lame. But I have a plugin that's going from OBS to Reaper and sort of transporting the audio because that's how it has to work. So it's not wanting to work, guys. I don't know why exactly. I have to basically check the send and the receive of this. Well, you know why is because, at least I think, it's on the master and not just well, that should still be going through. Anyway, guys, I don't know if you heard any of that. I'll not even do what I was planning on doing with layering in the percussion. I'll play a bit of it for a second if you guys can't hear it. I'll get it figured out, and I'll check this out, and I'll show you next time. But this plugin should be sending audio from Reaper to OBS, making this clean and simple. So and the cool thing about this is, one of the things that I really want the intent of, this is my intent, I guess, with the music too, is I've got like all these MIDI keyboards and instruments going on, and then there's like real drums there. And I want, in the best way I can, and depending on the song, like sonically too and stuff, but I want my real drums to be played and sounded like it was a real person on a real drum set, but I want there to be like some sort of element to it in the way that it's all presented, I guess, that almost makes it seem electronic. And I don't know if you guys can hear that. Hopefully you can. Like I said, if not, I'll check that out, see what's up with it, and maybe show you next time. A little bit of the percussion section here is really cool. So that's a bummer that that's not working if what my readings are showing are correct. But anyway, so let's get into this today, guys. That's the stuff I've been working on lately. It's really fun, super cool, and it's goofy as a motherfucker, so it's a whole different thing than anything I've ever put out there and shown to you guys. And the cool thing is I just like so many types of music that there's so many types of music I could tackle, and even types of music I have already tackled that I just haven't put out there and shown people really, that I want to cover so many bases. One day, like, hopefully all the bases will be covered in, like, the kind of stuff that I put out and everything, but I just haven't done that yet. I've been working for so many years on the bed bugs, and that was, like, my main focus and my main venue for putting stuff out, that now I want to broaden that again, and yeah, just have fun putting new stuff out there and stuff I've never experimented with before until the past few years. I've been listening to this sort of stuff and putting things together and just really getting into different types of music. I just love that shit, and I like making different types of music. So today, folks, we are looking at the Centrifuge. This album we are on the 7th week of doing, and we're basically going week by week through each track of the album, looking at the lyrics, looking at the art, talking about the recording process a bit, or whatever stories might come up, or inspirations might come up, just as I'm remembering this shit, because it's really cool to kind of step through the process of making these songs and how they're put together and stuff. It's cool to remember it for me too. So today we're looking at track 7. So track 7 is special because it is my favorite, I think, if I had to put a favorite on the album. And obviously, like everybody else, your favorites change every now and then. If you listen to something for so long, you might change your favorite, especially if an album is a well-rounded album and the tracks are all consistent, and you're like, yeah, I like all of them because they just all sound that way. You can tell it's that band kind of thing, right? But I think what's cool is, for me, I'm a person to shift like that, and for this album, it's different to gauge your own stuff, but for this album, Nightmother has consistently, since I've put it out, been one of my several favorites on here, but my top favorite. My other ones are Ivory and I Woke Up Dead, and even like Prognosis and Paper Tiger and stuff come behind that, but those are really cool songs too. I really enjoyed making all of them. Nightmother, though, is like my tops. Like, it has just been my top favorite, like musically, lyrically, not even just musically, like as a listener, but as, writing that stuff. It had so much new stuff for me that I was tackling, and it came out sounding just like I wanted it to, as far as the song itself. It was just an awesome song to do. I love this one, so I want to get into this. So, excuse me. Before I start checking out this beautiful piece of art that my sister Litho did, I want to get into what's in this motherfucker's mouth, because he's been over here bitching at me about it. So let me kind of reach into this dude's mouth. It's kind of like, sometimes I feel like when I do this, I'm sort of like these like alligator and amphibian dudes at the zoo that are like, whoa, doing the show for the kids. Look at me reaching in this thing's mouth. Pretty sick, huh? And one day I think he's going to clamp down on my arm, and then all you kids are going to be seeing a bloody stump. So it looks like, whoa, okay. I'm going to show you guys this first. Now, I don't know how well this is going to show up on my camera, because I am famously bad at setting my settings, and everything looks like a weird bright fairy cave all the time with the settings I have on my camera, but I just try to make things visible. But maybe this will be too visible. I don't know. Yeah, all right. It's a little bright, but this is the physical, actual piece of art from the album. I don't know how well you guys can see that. Sort of blocking myself off here. Oh, I'm trying to block the light of the window. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you can see the newspaper clippings there, or the clippings from the book pages and stuff. put all together all the different highlighter and weird marker and shit that's all used in this, all the pen and pencil looking stuff. It's just so cool. I love that piece. Something that I realized from looking at this just now is that, oh my gosh, see, this is cool. My friend Maddie that did this, I at one point brought her this kind of strand of shiny thread, and it was gold, and I was like, if you can, oh my gosh, excuse me guys, if you can use this physically on this like mixed media thing somehow, that would be awesome. And she did, and I doubt that it's gonna pick up, but right here in this white part, and then this tinier white sliver underneath, these two kind of white bulbs right here underneath my finger, she used, oh, it's not gonna pick it up, is it? Oh, if I get really close, you see those squiggles of that thread? The camera does it no justice, but it is like really weird, shiny, sparkly thread that she literally laced through the front and back of the paper. It's literally hanging out of the back of the paper. I wonder if you guys will be able to see that if I show it. Oh. Yeah, you see a little hair? Look at that. Yeah, so that's just awesome, dude. What a weird thing. What a cool thing. And then the second thing is actually the art that we've got on display today. Now, I'm going to get a little bit closer in a second to try and mess with some of this brightness on this, but my sister Litho did this for this track, and there's so many elements of the song going on in the picture. It's insane. And it was done on like black, almost like construction paper. I don't know if I'm getting the right term for that, if it's actually construction paper, but it's like a really thick, kind of porous, like black paper with what looks like, and I can't remember, I asked her how she did it, but it's been so long since we talked about it and I got this from her, but I think it's done in some kind of combination of maybe white, like charcoal markers, or not markers, white charcoal markers, maybe a little bit of chalk in some way, maybe a little white paint to add detail lines to things. I don't know how much you guys can tell from that, as much as you can the picture that I've got pulled up down now, but there's like detail on these birds and the blood dripping off the moon and stuff that could be even white paint touched up on there. It looks awesome. I love it. I don't know what it is. I can't exactly remember, but it's very beautiful. And this was as well one of my favorite art pieces. They all hold such like unique energy, which was the fucking thing I was trying to do by having a different person work on each track of this album and do a piece of art for not just the album but each track. And this was just a cool one. I mean, I just love this one. So let me play the song for you guys while I enjoy a bit of a beer this Sunday evening. And yeah, we'll just chill. We'll listen to the song and then we'll talk about it. Cool. Hell yeah. Fuck. I love that song, dude. That's such a good song. Okay. What? Excuse me, by the way. What is this? Spam risk. No, thank you. Can I silence that? Okay. So, this song, y'all. Let's go through the lyrics and look at the art, because this... Oh, God. I just love that song. I was just sitting there, like, harmonizing with it and stuff. While I had the mic off and everything, listening to it there. Is so cool. I love this song. You can tell this is probably my favorite. So, going through the lyrics here, I'm just going to read through them and kind of explain them as I go, like usual. And this one is, I want to say going into it, one where I pulled a lot of inspiration from in a lot of different ways and a lot of new ways for me. Kind of like I was explaining before, there's like a lot of new things I tried in this track. And there was a lot of inspiration that I tried going for and drawing from people in this track in ways that I just hadn't before, especially with the bed bugs I hadn't done. And a lot of the inspiration was lyrically, was kind of the staging of the song, the sort of, I always like to think of the word staging can be used through a lot of art, and it's kind of the theatrics of it, whether you're talking about theater or not. It's like the positioning of things and the value of things, and, you know, it's hard to explain in my mind, but kind of the staging of this, I'm sure it makes sense. The staging of the song is one thing too, and then like drum-wise specifically was something I did a lot more of inspiration from one band in particular, Saint Seneca. Super fucking dope indie band. You should go check that out. Zach Little is the dude that leads that band and writes the lyrics. At least from what I understand, he writes most of them. Maybe he has some of the other guys throw in sometimes. But I think it's Zach Little just writing the lyrics, writing the songs and stuff. Amazing songwriter, and I pulled a lot of him into this song. So in ways like the drums are doing a lot of that kind of stuff, like the whole time through the verse. And it starts with, I'm pulling a lot from, what's his name? Matt Okonk, or Okonki. I think it's just Okonk. But that's Saint Seneca's drummer, who I had the pleasure of meeting for a minute and buying a dope-ass record from, a print of their Pillar of Na album that was like cherry red with like blasted weird red in it and stuff. It was awesome. And then I talked to him and I got a picture with him, and it was super cool. Yeah, that was dope. But I pulled a lot of that guy in him doing those kind of simple, driven, strong beats like that. Instead of anything even slightly more complicated, it would dilute it too much. And I wanted this song to fit that narrative. And then also, like, even in the earlier verse, I'm using a lot of the floor tom as kind of the ride cymbal or the hi-hats for the beat, the driving kind of thing of the beat. I'm using like the floor tom, and he does that a lot in Saint Seneca, and in that project I thought that was really just a smart way to build staging and build theatrics, so that when I go to the eighth notes on the hi-hat later, and I start doing that like the next verse, it's just an eighth note hi-hat beat that's nothing crazy, but it's staged in a way that it makes it seem like more than it is, or at least you know what it is, but it's more impactful than you might have thought something like that could be. I just love a lot of the staging and theatrics of Saint Seneca, and of Zach and lyrically, and of Matt with the drums and percussion and stuff. It's just amazing, dude. I could just sit and talk about that shit forever. But let's get into the lyrics. So, guys, you gotta really excuse me. I have bad sinuses usually, but right now they are kicking my ass, and I'm probably making some gross sounds every now and then, so my bad. So this starts with, what part of your fetid flesh tastes best, my friend? Got a lot of that alliteration in there with the, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, with the F sound. And then when I sink my teeth in, I want to adore all the things that went rotten. A lot of these, now you're getting these almost alliterative sounds, but as far as the value of the words, they don't, alliterate with each other, if that makes sense. Sink my teeth in, went rotten. Like things that if you shape the words, the mouth sound of the word right, you can especially make them match the sound of each other. If you just say teeth in and rotten, the way that I would say rotten anyway, with my Missourian dialect, rotten. Teeth in and rotten don't really sound the same, but teeth in and rotten, if you shape them a certain way, or if your dialect lays them out a certain way, then those things kind of seem more synchronistic. And it's just something that I've always thought that was cool that Zach Little did, to a level far beyond that, where he takes words and phrases that I wouldn't even ever really imagine sitting next to each other, but he shapes them, the sound of them coming out, in a way that, I'm trying to think of a good example, and I can't ever when I'm put on the spot. I do know one example, although it's not the most throttled example of what I'm talking about, is he has a song where they do a lot of spins on the word awful, and they have the word awful, and then they have, as we would see as like something as like terrible, like that's bad, that's awful, and then he's got like a play on awe, AWE, like in awe of something awful, and it's like the awful yawn, we're all full on, and he like shit. I'm trying to remember exactly. It's been a while since I've listened to that song. There's like a lot of ways that he just shapes weird phrases that sit next to each other that it's so quaint. It's like when you see one thing sitting on its own, whether it's a normal thing to you to see sitting on its own, but especially when it's something that would be weird sitting on its own, like walking down the middle of the street and seeing a $50 bill lying there on the road, or something like that. Like, it's so... It's so, it makes it more valid, and it's so, like, confirmative, and it solidifies something when you see whatever it is, occur again and again, and by obvious intent. It's like hard for me to explain in the weird specific way that I really like that feeling that makes me want to imply that or employ that in my own stuff. But anyway, what part of your fetid flesh tastes best, my friend? When I sink my teeth in, I want to adore all the things that went rotten. That month, your parents died while traveling. Yet another part of that, traveling, kind of rotten, teeth in, You've had some trouble looking at the moon since it happened. And then yet another word of kind of that pattern. This song does a lot of jumping perspective. So in this perspective, it's kind of the narrator looking at down on, so to speak, and we'll talk about that. But it's the narrator looking at the kind of subject of the song, who in the art is this person right here. So they're looking down at them and kind of saying with the what part of your fetid flesh tastes best, my friend. When I sink my teeth in, I want to adore all the things that went rotten. This is implying already that the narrator can see to the subject of the song that in the way that I'm making this metaphor, his fetid flesh, adore all the things that went rotten. It's not just, his flesh, obviously, which which it is, and we'll talk about things get revealed as we go on, but it's also his life, his self, his personality, his emotions, like what part of you as the subject will be most consumptive and interesting and absorbent to me as the narrator when I, in a famous way that I like to do, eat your flesh. Like, I like to talk about zombie stuff a lot. Like, I literally have a song that we've done on this album that's literally a guy waking up as a zombie. I've always loved zombies and shit. I love old horror movies, so I like to kind of slip that. That's like one of my world tools, like my world creation tools of the bedbugs is like zombie. Like, like that element is like one of the setting metaphors across what I like to do. And so the narrator's basically saying, what part of you is most fucked up through your life, whether it's physically or emotionally or mentally or whatever, basically, is going to be the most interesting and like consumptive to me. Like, what's going to fit in this song best, really, but like, for the purpose of what gets revealed later in the song. It's like an examination of the self, but through this narrator that's like an outside person. And then it mentions that month your parents died while traveling. You've had some trouble looking at the moon since it happened. We go then again to the subject, like we're looking at the subject, and we know that his parents have physically died before. That month your parents died while traveling. It doesn't get into specifics, but his parents died. They are no longer around. And you've had some trouble looking at the moon since it happened. So now we know that we have some kind of weird connection to the moon, which is in the art up here, right? Then we go, waning a languished tone, laying amidst the glow. Come take me home. This is a really quick perspective change to the subject of the song. Now the subject, the person in the middle of the drawing here, becomes the narrator for a second. He is now speaking to the moon, so now it's sort of revealed, like pseudo-revealed, that the moon was the thing talking to him in the first place. The moon's the narrator. And now we have the subject, the guy beneath the moon, saying, you are waning in a languished tone, and like I'm laying amidst the glow, like your glow, like I'm laying underneath your glow, and I'm also, this same languished tone that you're projecting onto the world is projecting within myself, right? This dull gray, beautiful and calm, but dull glow across the planet that side of the planet rather, that the moon's kind of casting physically is also sort of a reflection of this subject's character. You can even see it. He's kind of sad and like bent over, and we'll kind of discuss some of these other elements as we go along, but come take me home, we will get a taste of what that really means later, but he's in some way just saying take me to a place where this is not, Then it goes on to say, pray tell, does your stomach hurt when you recollect? Do your ankles and your eyelids swell with Percocet? Curiously dismantling the malcontent within your chest, do the records you've been playing really help when all you do is lay there on your bed? A lot of that same kind of, whether they are like exact phonetic rhymes or not, they kind of line up with the sound of each other, a lot of these words, and in that way they kind of validate each other. So this is then now for another verse, going back to the perspective of the moon, and it's saying again to the subject, pray tell me, does your stomach hurt when you recollect the aforementioned languished character and the dead parents and things like that? Do your ankles and your eyelids swell with Percocet? Now we have realized that this person has a drug problem. Cool. Curiously dismantling the malcontent within your chest. Do the records you've been playing really help when all you do is lay there on your bed? This is basically describing this like self-loathing and world-loathing kind of worldview of the subject of the song, the person that the moon's talking about. you sit there and lay in bed all day and listen to records and kind of pick yourself apart and pick the world apart, and does that, what is that really doing for you? You know, not to say that it's the wrong thing to do or the right thing to do. It's just literally like it's not like an implied question where like someone will ask you a question sometimes just to be an asshole and like, well, what do you think? You know, and the answer is implied and it's like, fuck off, you're just like making a point. That's not kind of the angle that the moon is coming from here. It's actually inquisitively wondering, you know, you're human beneath me and I'm the moon. I am nothing of your kind. I don't know what, you know, I see your experience. It's like a very blank and open to interpretation kind of experience of the narrator looking down on the subject, and I see all these things happening, and I see you struggling, and I you know, what is that like? And like, you know, it's inquisitive. It's again, it's like an examination of the character. It's a tiny little way in which I like to sort of reveal the things that we are sometimes wondering about ourselves, right? That we, even as human, don't know how to answer sometimes. Then it goes on to say, from the subject's point of view, you notice we're jumping between subject, moon, the narrator, and then subject, the person. Now we're at the person's view again. How true to thee, I got my feeling back. This beauty brings, I got my feeling back. We believe, I got my feeling back. Stay true to me, I got my feeling back. So that is very obviously kind of highlighting at the end of each line, I got my feeling back. It's the same rhyme, right? Now sometimes, depending on how it's done too, and depending on how you feel as a listener to this, I'll let you decide, but sometimes I hear people rhyme the same shit with the same shit, and I'm like, that was just fucking lazy. Like, what are you doing? And then sometimes I hear people rhyme the same shit with the same shit, and it's divisive, and it's intentional, and it's not just something that seemed like the whim of the pen when you were writing. It's just like, oh, shit, I'm getting stuff down quick. And then like, what? You know, it's like a copy-paste tool versus someone actually laying like a sort of breadcrumb trail for you to follow, that's instead of just a blank path that's empty and leads emptily and blankly into the forest, and then the path's lost and you don't know where you're going. You know, instead of laying something there that was very interpretive, I wanted something to be very blunt, and that was, in my way, hopefully the more positive way of using a lot of this like same rhyme over and over. I like those kind of devices and writing schemes that hit you over the fucking head and make you say like, here is something, right? Like here is something, whether it's important to the story, or sometimes I even like it, like especially in film, when sometimes it's not necessarily not something important, but not something frontal, that they still hit you with over and over. It's like one thing that I really enjoy about Alien is one of my favorite, it's just like my favorite film series of all time, and the first Alien is my favorite Alien movie, 1979, Ridley Scott's Alien. Super fucking cool. One of the things I like about the staging, talking about staging of a song, the staging of that movie is just a lot of the shots and the architecture and the style of Ridley Scott and H.R. Geiger is so heavy with like line work and stuff like that, that it's just one of these extremely intentional devices, this theme that's just fucking everywhere you look. All these shots, I mean, it's like in the piping and in the pipe work, it's very thick and detailed pipe work of the spaceship and stuff like that, and all these, anytime you see wires or panels or machinery, it's all very excuse me it's all very heavy line work and lots of grids and squares and lights and sometimes is very symmetrical and sometimes it's very haywire. And then the design of the alien and the way that its body looks and the way that the weird piping that comes off its back and the weird lines along its face and its body and shit, they all mirror that same sort of device to me. Like so many things, the spacesuits in that movie, I'm literally sitting here right now like looking as I say this, my Funko Pop that's Ripley in spacesuit, number 732 of the Alien series. I have a bunch of Funko Pops that are literally Alien in front of me right under my fucking my recording interface because I'm a nerd, especially for this stuff. But like all those things scream the same device to me, the same visual device, and it just beats you over the head, but in such an elegant way that if you're paying attention to it, you're gonna go nuts like I do over that stuff, or like I am over this thing anyway. And it's just fucking amazing. And so anytime I can kind of reflect those things that I enjoy out of the art I watch or listen to or whatever, I try to reflect some of that anyway, hopefully, into my stuff. But what the subject is saying in that stanza there is, how true to thee, to you, the moon. There's going to be a finish line to this, but it kind of prefaces it with all of the sort of spoils of the finish, and then it shows you the finish line. You'll see what I mean. How true to thee, to the moon, to give me this feeling. Now that all of a sudden, right here in this part of the song, now it's the subject, the person's getting a feeling from the moon. What that feeling is, we're not sure yet, but how true to thee that you would give me such a feeling, all of my feeling back. I've got my feeling back. I lost my feeling as a human for so long. Felt nothing, but now I've got it back. This beauty brings. I got my feeling back, right? Like again, like the moon is bringing this beauty unto this person. It's an indescribable thing to feel again, right? We believe. I got my feeling back. This person, this we that they're talking about, and he's speaking in a way that means we as his sort of spiritual self now, which will get revealed in a second, and his physical self, they have their feeling back. And then stay true to me, I got my feeling back. So then that's a reflection of the first line, how true to thee. The last line is stay true to me, sort of a reflective thing of two ends of something, which again I will explain. I keep kind of nodding to that. Stay true to me, I got my feeling back. He's telling the moon, please stay this way forever. Stay true to me. The things that I know that are true of you, stay that way. Then it goes on to say, and kind of again, I was nodding over and over it. I'll explain that. There's a reflective thing here going on that I'll kind of throw after I get through the lyrics here. It continues and says, hanging alive, alone, breathing through cratered lungs. May your breath be snow. May you emit the glow, my Nightmother. And then it says my Nightmother over and over and over. So what's happening there at the end, and it's kind of talking about it a little bit in that last part, hanging alive alone. This and then the stanza before it now is being revealed that this guy has killed himself to in some way relieve his physical self of the lack of feeling since his parents have died and all these other troubles he's had in his life. He's lacking any feeling anymore. And so he kills himself, he hangs himself so that he can once again look at the moon and be with the moon. And the moon has given him his feeling back, and he's believed in the moon always and will still believe in the moon. You know, we believe. Stay true to me. All the things I know that are true of you, continue to give them and reciprocate, you know, this energy. And he's saying he's hanging alive alone in those last moments of life, breathing through his cratered lungs, which is kind of, cratered lungs is sort of a representation of him having trouble breathing through his lungs. They're cratered, they're like damaged, you know, because he's hanging. But then also cratered is obviously a reflection of tying the subject to the narrator and that the moon has craters on its surface, and that even though we know the moon's not alive with lungs, that in this story, oh, hey Felix, in this story the moon is sentient. And so in some way, even if metaphorically, it lives and breathes through its lungs, right? Whatever that might be. It's alive for this character, for this subject. He has a relationship with the moon. He knows the moon. And there's something very deep there with him and the moon that you don't really get a feeling for. There's just some kind of ominous connection to that. And then, may your breath be snow, may you emit the glow. That's the subject then as he passes, telling the moon, may your breath be this kind of snow that gently falls onto me, cold, but welcoming. You know, we all know what snow is, and when we see it fall, we get a certain feeling, and this person feels cold but welcomed to that. And then may you emit the glow, may the moon continue to light the world with, and the subject, the character, with this glow that, again, it's staying true to. It's always known the moon has had this glow, and may you continue to emit that, you know. It's his Nightmother. And then that last line kind of reveals right there that the Nightmother sort of implies there's some kind of parental connection to the character and the moon. And that what it is the character's parents that have died, whether it's really unexplained, but whether it's just some in some weird metaphoric way that character draws the spirit of his parents to the moon. You know, that is my parents now. Like that, my parents are looking at me from the moon, or they are the moon. In some way, this character's mind has bent it to where, like, that is representative of his parents and of all love lost, all feeling lost in his life, everything he's lost. And so he kills himself in the end to try and bring himself closer to that again, to go to the moon, so to speak. And he does. End of story. Pretty crazy. So, all these elements in this, I'm not going to remember them all perfectly, but obviously the moon there looks amazing. And there's these sparrows and these butterflies flying up by the moon. Now, I remember Litho telling me there was something specific about that, it being sparrows and butterflies, if I'm right, but I don't remember what that is at the moment. And one thing that I guess that speaks for in a beautiful way to me, but also just in like I don't remember. Nice going, dude. I don't remember much. I forget a lot of things. But other than just me being dumb and forgetting, it shows to me in a way that one thing that is, it can be a divide or it can be a connect. It just depends on how you view it. Most often I view it as a connection. Something where you, as an artist like me, I have this song, and then I go to another artist and I have them, my sister Litho, make some art for that is in conjunction with that, the visual art for the song. And I have all these like lyrics in the song to show, and I'm like, okay, like make something based off of that, but it's only based off of that, and there can be elements that artist adds that are metaphorical or intentional or stylistic or representative to them of something that maybe even I don't get as the original artist of the music, right? So that's something beautiful to me too. But then there's this character in the middle, obviously, who's, if you can tell, such a cool thing. Litho drew these shadow fingers, this big shadow arm coming literally from the shadows, and then this shit just coming from the shadows and grabbing this person. That's kind of these things that are the demons that are holding this person down, and I love the way that she did it, where she didn't draw the arm necessarily as much as she drew the space and the shading around it, and that made the outline of it. And that's such a perfect way to represent that shadow because it's black paper. It's like it's like a shadow is something that's not really physically, like, it's not tangible, you can't touch it. It's not there, but you see it, it's there, right? And I thought that was such a beautiful way to like represent that, is that the space around it is there. It's physically there. The air, the molecules around a shadow is there. So she sketched that white stuff to show the space around it. Not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to draw molecules. Like that, you know what I mean? But like she's making the space around it known. She's establishing space around it so that the absence of the color in the middle that you see as the hand, I don't know, it's just fucking awesome to me. I believe that these are the Percocet being gripped in the hand of the character here that are referenced. He's blowing out the may your breath be snow kind of thing, of which he was sort of saying to the moon, you know, may you greet me with these cold but welcome arms sort of thing when I die. There it is, right? Like that's the passing. That is the breath of snow, that which he was saying would be his comfort. She referenced that right there. And then there's like these stone structures and fires and stuff. These little fires everywhere. Even this kind of image of a building burning or something burning. I believe at least this image, if not also this physical fire right here. I have to make total sure of that, but the image at least here is supposed to be, I believe, representative of what could have maybe happened to the parents. And then this is, you know, this little stone structure here with this fire building and burning next to it, and the grass even, like, do you guys see the detail of the grass? It's so clever not to just like lay the grass everywhere. Like, you know, you might look at something and say, there's going to be grass on the ground, so I'm just going to lay the grass along the bottom of this piece of paper or whatever. That it's so sparse and sparing that when she gets to where it would be really effective to show this with that fire, with the lighting and the shading upon the grass and stuff, she puts it there to really emphasize its use. But there's not really just grass sitting everywhere else in the painting. And it's all these images of the shadows then do the same thing. I mean, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just love that. I thought that was so cool. But hopefully I did that some justice for what would be her explanation of it if she was here, you know, talking about that. I feel that for every artist, I always, whenever they made these, like 2 years ago or whatever, I talked to them about their intent, their reasoning, their, you know, stuff like that, how they did it, what kind of media they used. But I don't remember everything perfectly. I have terrible memory, so I try to do it justice and explain it in a way that has meaning to me, and hopefully represents some meaning to them too. But such a beautiful piece of art, man. This song was just one of my favorites to do. I mean, just such a beautiful song, dude. And it's one where I don't often feel about my own work that it's as digestible and as entertaining as things I listen to. It's just not to me, because it's the stuff I made. Like, I made it, and I already went through the process of sitting there and making it and recording it, and that's like, most of the time, that's all I need. I do go back and listen to my stuff every now and then for reference or for nostalgia, but it's never in the same way I listen to music I enjoy, like Bill Wirtz or Chaz Emu or Lewis Cole. I shout these guys out a lot because I fucking love them. I even found somebody recently who was another solo act, a dude that does their own recording and producing and stuff, named Stephen Paul Taylor. Super sick, dude. You know, Jack Stauber and yeah, I've mentioned a lot of these people before because I love them. But wherever I was going with that, you know, I listen to my own stuff as well sometimes for like reference, but I never absorb it the same way as a consumer of the art as I do when I consume other people's stuff. But this song is like one of the closest songs I think I've written before for the Bedbugs that was that for me. That was something that was it's such a cool and fun song for me, but such a sad and powerful song. Cool and fun, I guess, is not the best way to put it, but with the process of making it and recording and just like listening to some of it sometimes, and it brings me feelings that I feel like are some of the feelings sometimes when I consume other stuff that I like. So hopefully you guys get a feeling like that too out of the song and the lyrics and talking about the art and shit today and seeing the physical piece of it even though my camera is kind of shitty for picking that up. It's been really fucking cool kicking it today. Pepe Mache, thank you for bringing in those art pieces in your big fat gullet once again, my good friend. Guys, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my Sunday and have another beer or two or something and just hang out, play some music, listen to some music, work on some music. Eventually what I want to do with the music I'm working on now, past finishing it and making it sound good, is I want to hurry the fuck up and get a camera, do some videos. So that's going to be what I'm going to leave you guys with today. Have a good Sunday. Thanks for coming to kick it if you did. Yeah, man, that was a stream. Remember, guys, be cool.